Well, this is a Charger tomato, and it is a determinate type, and it's done. So all of these tomatoes have ripened at the same time. My wife and I are the only ones here, so obviously we can't eat this too many tomatoes in one setting. So it's time to make some tomato juice. I ended up with nearly 2 5-gallon buckets of tomatoes. So I've got them set up here. I'm going to wash them, cut them up. I have a stainless steel kettle here, and the scraps go in here. I'll go out to the chickens, and the tomatoes go in here. It's going to be a little bit of a long process. Cut out any bad spots. And there's no reason to core them. My food mill will take care of that. But there's a little hole. You don't want any rotten parts, that's for sure. So that's just a matter of cutting it in half, and cutting it in a quarter. You may hear the dishwasher. I've got my canning jars in there. Now that I've got the bottom here filled up, I'm going to smash them with this potato masher. I want to get some liquid on the bottom so they don't burn. Well, as you can see, I've got quite a bit of liquid in the bottom. So I'm going to go over and put this on the stove on low heat right now, because I want to get a lot of liquid in there so they don't burn. And then I'll continue washing those. Well, this has a good start. Got plenty of liquid down there. I'm gonna give it a good stir. These need to cook until they're softened, that's all. Then I can run it through the food mill. And I'm going to keep it covered for right now. All right, so you can see my pot almost runneth over, but it's not. This is going to cook down, and I don't want to make 2 batches. So I'm going to let this stay on here. It's on medium-low right now on number 3. Ours is a 10-point scale. And I'm just going to let this simmer here. While I'm doing that, I'll get my food mill ready, the canning water ready, and the canning jars. It looks like they've gone through the wash cycle. They're in the drying cycle right now, but I can take those out anytime. I'll get my kettle ready to sterilize those even further. This is a stainless steel pot. You want to do it in stainless steel. Cast iron will react with tomatoes, give it an off taste, and not be good for your cast iron either. Got my boiling water here. My lids are over here. They don't quite need them yet. These have been soaking in here, steaming in here for about probably an hour. It took me to get everything else ready. So I need to get the jars out of the dishwasher. We have a variety of these old jars that we've inherited from our parents, and they inherited from their parents or our grandparents. So carefully pick that up. It's an old blue tinted jar. Probably a better way to do this. This is the way I've always done it. I started canning when the kids moved out. My wife said, she's finished. Not going to can anymore. And I don't blame her. I'm going to sterilize 7 jars right now. I'm not going to try to pick up this whole kettle. I'm just going to take a little bit. So I need to get some space here. Now I could have cooked this longer. I could also run the tomatoes through the mill and put it back in here. It just depends on how thick you want your sauce. If I were making tomato sauce, not tomato juice, I would put this back in the kettle here after I've run it through the mill and let it cook down, probably all day. I really like a nice thick tomato sauce. But this year, we don't need tomato sauce. We've canned enough last year to last through next year. And you don't want to keep it too long. So once I get this filled up, we'll take it outside. I'll be canning these in a hot water bath for 35 minutes. So I've got my water boiling here. And the rest of this operation is going to be done outside here. I'm ready for the next step. This is Karen's old mill. And you put the tomatoes in there and run this thing around and smash them against the wall. Well, we have 6 children and we were foster parents for 16 years. So there were always about at least 6 and sometimes as many as 10 kids in the house. And Karen, we canned a lot. She canned green beans, which is a real pain because you got to use the pressure canner. She canned tomatoes, tomato sauce, tomato juice, diced tomatoes, about anything you can can. We froze sweet corn, we froze beans, not beans but peas. And when the kids were done and we stopped being foster parents because we were now grandparents, she said, I'm done canning. If you want to can, it's up to you. Well, the first time I canned, I used this and I had no idea how hard she had to work to do that, and I apologize, Karen. My friend Marge Helm, who was another physical education teacher, told me I should get a food mill. So we got this one from Lehman's, and this is so much easier. It's still not powered. You still have to use your hand crank here, but there's a screen in here, and what that does, it catches all the skins and the cores and the seeds. So basically, you just keep feeding this monster, pressing it down once in a while until it just, you've processed everything. So I'll repeat this over and over again. This is pretty straightforward. I've got a wide funnel here. I want to leave some head space. There's no water added to this. This is just pure tomato juice. Now that I have the jars filled up, I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of lemon juice in each quart. And you could add salt at this time, but I prefer not to because we might use some of this tomato juice for tomato soup or another dish, and then you have to kind of guess how much salt it has. I prefer to add the salt. I like pepper on it too as I drink it. Now that I have them in there, I need to make sure that the lids are perfectly clean. No debris on top. And so I just use a little fresh piece of paper towel each rim. And in here, I have these canning lids have come to a boil. A little magnet here. Actually, I have 2 of them right now. That loosens the boiling loosens the little rubber seal and makes for a better seal. Now if that's on, you put on the canning ring, give it a good twist down, and then they go in the canner. These go in the canner and boil. Once it comes back to a boil, I'll can them or boil them for about 35 minutes. And while that's happening, it looks like I have enough for about 4 more quarts. I'll go sterilize the other jars, finish running this through the mill, and it'll be about lunchtime. Plus, it's getting hot out here. Into the canner. I actually don't have a real jar lifter, but these tongs have worked for me for several years. So I've got just over an inch of water over the top of these, and you can see it's already back to a boil. I'm going to turn it up just a little bit and watch it for the next few minutes. I don't want it to boil too hard. A nice good rolling boil for 35 minutes will work. About like that. Nice bubbles coming up. I'll turn my camera off and set the timer for 35 minutes. I left them out here overnight. I put this one that was partially full in the refrigerator. Give a little shake. They do have a lot of pulp in them. That's good. Yeah, it could use a little salt. Listen, if you're going to can, be careful. Botulism is real. Make sure everything is sterile. If you find one that's not, listen to that, that should not be happening. That did not seal. That's because I didn't try to seal it. The ball lids all have a snap on here, and if you don't hear that thing snap, or if you push down on that, it's no good. Throw it out. Botulism is real, and you are responsible for your own canning. But if you do it right, it's great. Thanks for watching.